Hello, good afternoon. Let me say a brief intro about Validated ID. Validated ID is a qualified trust service provider in Europe. We are working on digital identities and digital signatures for almost 10 years. And in the last 4 years, we are working in the new paradigm of digital identities, so-called self-sovereign identities or decentralized identities. Any good talk about digital identity needs to start with this slide. This joke has almost 30 years. In the New Yorker, Peter Steiner published this joke on one dog said to another, on the internet, nobody knows you are a dog. This is from 30 years. I don't know where. I'd like to put it with this other sentence. This sentence is from David Birch, with writing in a book called The Identity is the New Economy. David said, on the internet, nobody knows that you are a fridge pretending to be a dog. This is the reality today on the identity in internet. The internet is more complex, with more users, with more devices, without an identity layer to solve this kind of problems. And this is why internet born, this is a picture of the born of the internet, where two universities of America sends the first message with them between internet. And internet was designed to interconnect computers, not to interconnect people. So we have IPs that identifies computer, not people. And this original design is what is the main pain of internet related to identity. So today we have this kind of identities. Each user of internet, some reports said that each user of internet has around 100 accounts, so 100 passwords, most of them the same password in different accounts with the security problems that this implies. And we have one account for each service provider. We have one account for Amazon, we have one account for my bank, we have one account for the government. And this is not sustainable for the users. And at the same time, from the service providers who needs to identify the users, it's a big pain for them because it's not easy to know who is really behind an account. This is the big problem of internet of the last 30 years. And we try to solve that in different ways. One is the model of federated identities. Makes sense that me as a service provider could trust of the identity of another service provider. Makes sense in order to reduce the complexity for the users. But Bruce Schneier, the cryptographic guru, said that this becomes a feudal identity, not a federation, not a federated identity, because who really owns the identity in internet is not the user, is the service provider who provides you the account. And if this service provider considers that you break their terms and conditions, they can cancel your account, and they can cancel the access to other service providers using with this account. So this is not a good model. It's a model based on the big ones like Google, Apple, or Facebook, and this is not the good model. In Europe especially, we deal with digital certificates. Digital certificate is a good model in order to give the control to the user. It's a good model in terms of decentralization, but have a lot of problems of usability. So, for example, in Spain, this kind of identities are only used when you need to transact with the public administration. A citizen usually has or do 2 transactions at a year with the public administration. So it's not mainstream, and nobody uses this kind of identities. So to solve this problem is where self-sovereign identity comes. The model is too simple. It's try to replicate what we have in the no digital world to the digital world. In another no digital world, we have a wallet with all my credentials in the wallet, my ID card, my driver license, my student card, whatever. And when we need to access to some place, we present the credentials that we need to present to access to this place. In the digital world, we try to do the same thing. A digital wallet with credentials issued by third parties. And when we present these credentials, we try to minimize the disclosure information in these scenarios. This is the model, and the underlayer of this model is to use blockchain to try to decentralize this kind of solutions. The model has 3 main players. In the center, the user is full user-centric. The user has its digital wallet, and in this wallet, they hold all the credentials issued by the issuers. And the issuers could be anyone. Could be the government issuing you a credential, could be the university that issues your diploma, could be your company that issues the credentials about you are an employee of a company. We need blockchain for that? Yes. Because the main important part of this new model is the control of the user, the decentralization. And blockchain is the perfect infrastructure in order to do that. The main parts of the cryptography for functions, data revocation, credential revocation is published on the blockchain. The data of the users, the personal data of the users is not in the blockchain. It's only the cryptographic part in order to completely trust the model. This is not a crazy thing for some Illuminati like us. There are a lot of traction in the industry to build this new model, trying to be a universal identity model for all the digital world, for the digital and non-digital world. From events like Rebooting Web of Trust or Internet Identity Workshop with this model starts some years ago, to some formal standardization bodies like the W3C or some other standardization associations like the Centralized Identity Foundation or Trust over IP. This is the main organisms that are trying to standardize this model. There are a lot of other stakeholders that push into that, especially in Europe, and I'm going to talk about that in a minute. It's the legal part of the identity is very important, especially in Europe, because Europe is a highly regulated territory. Last June, the eIDAS 2, the eIDAS is the regulation related to digital identities and trust service in Europe, the eIDAS-2, the European Commission publishes the eIDAS-2 draft. This eIDAS-2 draft puts in black over white that the new model of digital identity for the citizens in Europe will be this model based on digital wallets and trust service providers issuing credentials. So we are in a good way in order to have a good regulation in Europe to deploy these new services. Another important thing of eIDAS-2 is that this new model of identity will be mandatory not only for the public sector, also for the private sector, especially in strategic industries like banks, like healthcare, like insurance, and so on. So this new identity will be used by the citizens each day in their relations with all the institutions that they have relations. So this is one important thing. The other important thing in Europe is from 2 years, Europe is building the called European Blockchain Service Infrastructure, EBSI. This is a permissioned blockchain in Europe with nodes in every state member that allows to deploy use cases related to blockchain in this infrastructure. One of the use cases is the European SSI framework, where from Validated AI, we're working on that in both parts. One part developing the CIF and the other part helping institutions in order to be early adopters of this scenario. So Europe is leading this kind of solutions. Europe is leading also privacy on personal data. GDPR has a lot of traction outside Europe. So this is a good model for Europe to develop that. And finally, this video shows, if the video goes, yep. This video shows how this works. You can try this if you look for BitWallet in the Apple Store or in the Play Store. You can download the wallet and you could try this demo. So we are going to the Apple Store in this case. We download the wallet. This is a web page with the demo to try to do the user journey. In the wallet, we are creating the wallet, the keys. This kind of wallet is very similar to crypto wallets in order that they store the keys and the function is very similar. In order to protect the access to these keys, there are some kinds of pins and biometric access to that one. And now we have the wallet created with the keys. The first credential that the wallet will hold is the ID card derived credential. So in this scenario, is a classic KYC video identification model. So with a photo of your ID card, with a selfie and proof of life. You must smile or do something in order to prove that you are alive. The service checks or match the ID card with a selfie. And if it all goes right, issue the first credential that is a credential related to your ID card. With this ID card, you can go to a website of, in this case, a government site, and you can authenticate yourself with this credential in order to go into there. In this case, the government knows that I'm a member of a large family, so the government issues me a credential of me that I'm part of a large family. And with that, we can go to a university, show my ID card, so logging into the university. The university could issue a credentials about I'm a student with the student card. And with the large family credential, we can apply at the university for a discount about the taxes of the university. So with these credentials, issuing and consuming credentials, the control of the user is total. Thank you very much.